touch up the edges. I've got the gold. This is not the back cover. Don't care. Doesn't really matter if the gold shines through a bit still. Just turn the tweezers around. A dry brush on front. So I cover some of that gold. Now I'm going to try something very interesting next, so when I come back, let's see if I can emboss on this. Yeah, so I put that down and I'll be back soon. So I'm back with my little book, and what I'm going to do is just close it. Now what I'm going to try and do is use some gold embossing powder. I've got some silver and I think some black somewhere. Some regular PVA glue, a little dish to put my embossing powder in. I'm just going to dab it in there, and I'm just got a little tiny paintbrush. It's a tack-on brush. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, only the tiniest bit, so I'm just going to put it on this piece of paper. Just drop. Ooh. That out of the way. That's got my glue there. Okay, it's a bit bright. It's hard to see. Just going to use this tiny little brush. I'm going to get a little bit moist so that the bristles don't separate. Give it a nicer tip as well. And I'm just going to paint, actually before I do that, I'm just going to put the powder in, a little bit of powder in, ready for when I dip my book in. Just a little bit. And you can pour the rest back in. Just a bit of a lump there. I'll just try not to dip it in there. Yeah, this is a little hard to see because I've got a giant camera, well not a giant camera, but a camera in front of me. So let's just see, excuse me if I let go off screen, I'll bump the camera. Just get a little bit of PVA glue on my brush. I'll probably water it down a bit. Really haven't worked out what I'm doing here. I'm going to put a stripe there. Stripe distance at the end there. And another one there. Thicker. Smash that one. One there. That looks nice. Let's dip it in the embossing powder. You can see it. Stuck on. Got two nice little gold lines there on the book with the embossing powder. Probably need to neaten it up before I do it, so I'm just going to clean the glue off of my brush. It's a little bit moist and just sort of brush it off so it's neater. It's a slightly moist brush. Isn't a little heavy on the embossing powder. Oh, it's on the brush now. The brush too wet. My attempt. I have only used embossing powder once before. Didn't turn out the best. Just gonna give it a bit of blue. Just sort of get those little bit of wandering bits off. Just move them back to where they should be. Oh, I reckon that's going to a bit there. Okay. Now what I have is a big giant heat gun. I'm going to zoom back out. You can get craft heat guns to use with embossing powder, but I don't have one. So I'm just going to put this on low. Be very careful, these get very hot and they're kind of noisy. So just go on low. Really heat that up now if I move it very end of my pages. Not to do it too close to my camera, I don't want to wreck it. And it's slowly going to melt. Now it's starting to look quite lovely. And it's not very good view for you guys. And it's almost done. Careful not to burn your hands. A bit more heat down here. Like that. So, there we go. Oops. And of course, probably best to move your embossing powder out of the way, or you blow it all over the place like that. I'm just going to put it, because the end of a heat gun gets very hot, I'm just going to put it down on a hand towel I've got there, non-flammable hand towel. So, don't mind that. Here is my tweezers are a little bit hot. The embossing. It looks quite nice, I like that. It's not terribly clean, but it looks nice to me. I like the raised image. You can probably do it with paint a bit better, a bit neater. Just get rid of the glue. And put that down to cool. Put my leftover powder back in my embossing jar. Stuff got lost in last time. And my tweezers are still a bit hot. How's the book? Book's not too bad. Of course, because I heated it, some paint's come off. If it's stuck, you can just repaint that. Let's see. That's my paintbrush. I've still got a little bit of wet paint, so let's just give it a swipe over the colour again, just to accept these little marks I made with the tweezers and flossing and the heat gun, obviously the heat gun. Found the tweezer metal to the paint, or the paint to the tweezers. That's my little book, so you can go up either way. Oh, look at that. Look what I've done down there. Yeah, it looks kind of funny. So I guess I'll make that the top of my book. It's nice and clean. And I'm probably going to need to break the dust buster out to clean that up. So we'll just clean up, and I'll guess I should do something on the front. I'll do that with the embossing powder again. I'll just clean up what I've got all over the place first. Now I'm going to do the design on the front. Decided what I want to draw. I'm going to do it with the embossing powder again, I reckon. I'll just try and be a bit more careful. Don't want this getting all clumpy while I paint on the design with the glue, so I'm just going to, hopefully that doesn't make it too thin. I don't care if it's got a little bit of paint in there. Here's my okay bristle brush, dry it off a little bit, and thin down my paint. It's a bit hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure you can imagine I am mixing glue and water. A bit hard to see white glue in a white dish. A bit closer. No, not really. So let's just thin down a bit so we make it easier to draw on with my little tiny brush. Get in my water again. Little book. This is going to be a bit difficult getting around the. Just brush in a bit of water. A bit of water in there. Right, let's just dry that off. So I am going to do this. I am going to draw a border. Are you getting that on camera? Yes, I am. Good. You don't want to take too long to do this. If you're going to take a while to do this, you might want to just draw one bit and put it in the embossing powder and then do the next bit. But I think I should be right if I do this fast enough. Draw a little circle. Okay. Draw a little sort of a sun thing. It's probably not looking too much like a sun. There we go. Just put a bit of embossing powder in my thing. Just a light covering. Just want to tap it to make it a bit flatter so the front of the book fits. Hopefully that's still good enough. Just going to drop it in there. Pat it in. It's got a bit clumpy. Just want to tap it, give it a bit of a flick. I see some of my glue has dried before I put it in there. So I'm going to need to paint that, emboss it. Just going to flick some of this out first. I don't want it to be too gunky. Doesn't matter if you've got a bit of embossing powder in the glue. Oh, I'm just going to add a little bit there. Just make it a bit thicker this time. So you probably shouldn't have pressed so hard when I put it in the embossing powder. So you just want to just want to sprinkle it by putting it upside down. I know that's a bit weird, but that's the gist of it. Probably making it worse right now. So just kaplunk. Oh, that's looking pretty funky. So wash my brush off and take off the little bits of embossing powder I don't want. Sorry, not in camera. It's probably a bit thick here. I think that's alright. So what I'm